Well, what initially we got reports at approximately 11:51 last night that there was a fire at an apartment complex. Um, the initial response was a first alarm. Upon arrival, they saw, as they were approaching, they saw flames in their eyes, and they immediately called a second alarm fire. Once they got on scene, they could tell that it was mostly on the left side of the complex, and with the wind direction, it was starting to blow. I'm sorry, not the west side, the north side, starting to blow to the south side. At that point, they started establishing water lines in a defensive perimeter because what was burned was burned. They're trying to prevent anything else from burning. Um, while they were trying to suppress the fire, they started getting reports of exposure fires downwind. So a third alarm was dispatched, and they took care of that. They did an amazing job of canvassing the neighborhoods, putting out multiple tree fires, dumpster fires, keeping any other residents from catching fire. The apartment complex just west has sustained some fire damage just from the heat. Um, they called a knockdown at I can't remember what time this morning. Sorry, it's in the press release, but they're still on scene because we have spot fires, and it's not safe for them to go in yet to confirm to go up to those spot fires and put them all out. So once that has been deemed safe, they'll go in and start putting out the spot fires.
Are there any early indications yet about what started or why?
No. Our fire and investigation team is on scene right now. They all they have is that it traveled from the north to the south side. They're attempting to get footage from local businesses, camera footage, to see if maybe it can indicate, what started it and how it started.
I did see there's some security cameras on the property itself. Did you see those cameras pointed
Yeah.
on the property?
Yeah, they'll be speaking with them also. They're going to gather all the footage they can and go through it.
I saw a guy wearing ATF. Is the ATF here also?
The ATF is here assisting with the investigation, and at this point they are debating on whether or not to call their national response team. That decision will be made if they don't see anything in the video footage that they gather.
Does the ATF always respond, or is there a reason why?
Yeah, on any residence fire, the ATF, it's normal protocol for them to respond, and most of the times they don't even need to be there, but they go as protocol just in case something comes up.
Mr. Whitney, how about protecting the homes and the property surrounding the fire? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so as I stated before, the first two alarms initially set up to put out the fire, but they were getting the reports of embers. They could see the embers going, and then they started getting reports. That third alarm was dispatched, and most of those units were assigned to canvass the neighborhoods and downwind. And they did find a couple tree fires and some dumpster fires.
We've heard from a couple people that there's a lot of homeless people around here, and they're wondering if that has anything to do with that. Is there any indication that that was a factor?
At this point, no, but that is always a possibility. So they'll be trying to get in touch with anyone they can to see if they have any of the homeless population, if they have any indication of what might happen.
We talked to some neighbors and they said that they did see the gate was open. It's kind of weird because it was open closed, but they said, for some reason it was open. You know any information on that?
I have not heard that. I wasn't aware of that information.
How does this fire compare to others? It's a three-alarm fire. Scope-wise, how large is it?
Well, there's a couple factors here that really let this fire get going. One, it's in the construction phase, so we had exposed wood, exposed combustibles. Two is the wind. The wind fueled the fire and it pushed the fire, so it intensified the heat and also pushed it to the south.
Mr. Whitney, we've heard first from some readers who speculate, I saw a fire at an apartment complex under construction a couple weeks ago, and there was one 6 months ago. Are there any trends or anything that are on your radar as far as fires at complexes under construction?
No, not that I'm aware of. In fact, I don't remember the last construction fire like this we've had. It's not very often because Security, like you said, the fence. There's usually fencing around it. There's usually security cameras. So that's not common, and it hasn't been a trend.
Talk about evacuations and number of people evacuated.
I do not know. I know Metro was called to assist with traffic control, and I think they assisted with some evacuation on the south end. And these apartments over here facing the fire, but I couldn't give you exact numbers. And the American Red Cross was called in the anticipation that we would have displaced people, but that is not the case. We do have some fire damage, but no one has been displaced.
Evacuations are mandatory.
Well, I'm sure they just, because they're trying to get to many people as possible, they're just knocking on the door telling people to evacuate. They don't stay and make sure they evacuate, because then they can't move forward and tell everybody else.
My last question on that note is for the embers that were flying around, if they catch any buildings on fire.
No, there were no residences, no buildings caught fire. There was embers on top of roofs. They did not catch fire, and the crews were on scene. Like I said, they were downwind, making sure that any embers that landed didn't cause further damage.
How does this compare to the office fire employees in Paradise? You know what I'm talking about? The Paradise
Office building?
The office building?
I can't recall. No, it's not coming to mind.
So there was obviously electric to the property. Was there natural gas concerns?
I know the utilities were secured, but I actually asked on-scene crews this morning if there was gas to the property. He said the utilities were secured in reference to that question. So I think there was gas, but I can't give you a definitive answer.
One last thing. Do you have a message to anybody? I don't know if this is suspicious or anything, but do you have any suggestions or any, like, hey, we need this information? Do you have any types of offers?
Yeah, if you have any information, we would appreciate a phone call. You can call 702-455-7311. That's our main number, and they will put you in touch with the investigations division.
Still accurate to say 206 units. The project was 50% done.
Yeah, I didn't hear how done it was, and I don't know how many units. I do know that this is going to be a total loss. They're estimating the value between 25 up to $30 million because they're going to have to start all over, tear it down, and then rebuild.
Was this insured?
I'm assuming I couldn't speak for the developing company, but I would assume so.